The reflection in the fitting room mirror wasn't just unflattering, it was a stranger, a tired, defeated version of me, wrestling with the unforgiven denim of a pair of jeans that had fit perfectly just a year ago. The zipper wouldn't budge. In that moment, it wasn't about vanity. It was about the sudden, chilling realization that I got winded climbing the stairs to my own apartment in Austin, that my energy evaporated by 3 p.m. every day, and that I was living in a body that no longer felt like my own. This moment was the breaking point, the silent scream that finally shattered the cycle of empty promises I'd made to myself. We've all been seduced by the siren song of fast weight loss. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry built on our desperation, promising magical transformations through punishing juice cleanses, starvation diets that leave you dizzy and miserable, or mysterious pills advertised in the dark corners of the internet. But the truth, the one that whispers to you after the fad diet fails for the 10th time, is that these are just metabolic dead ends. They leave you feeling worse than when you started, often with more weight, less muscle, and a fractured relationship with food and your own body. This is not a story about one of those quick fixes. This is the story of how I lost weight, yes, but more importantly, how I reclaimed my energy, my confidence, and my life. It's a blueprint built not on deprivation, but on abundance, not on suffering, but on strategy. I eat 3 delicious main meals and 2 satisfying snacks every single day, and I never, ever feel starved. What I'm about to share is the exact day-by-day approach that worked for me. It's crucial to remember, however, that every one of us is unique. Our bodies, our metabolisms, and our lives are different. This is my journey, shared in the hope that it can provide you with a framework, a spark of inspiration to begin your own. The invisible architect of transformation, mastering your mindset. Before a single calorie was counted or a single vegetable was chopped, the most profound change had to happen between my ears. We often obsess over the food on our plates, the numbers on the scale, and the minutes on the treadmill. But the silent, invisible architect of any lasting transformation is your mindset. It is, without exaggeration, at least 50% of the battle. For years, I was trapped in the vicious all-or-nothing cycle. I'd be perfectly good all week, eating nothing but salads and grilled chicken, only to have a single cookie at an office party. In my mind, that one cookie meant I had failed. The day was ruined, so why not turn it into a full-blown binge? I'd promised to start over on Monday, a promise that kept me on a demoralizing roller coaster of extreme restriction and uncontrolled indulgence. The first secret, the true cornerstone of my success, was to demolish this black and white thinking. I had to learn to live in the gray area, to understand that one less than ideal meal doesn't negate a week of healthy choices. It's just one meal. The journey isn't a tightrope walk where one misstep sends you plummeting. It's a long, winding path. If you stumble, you just get back up and take the next step. This shift from a perfectionist mindset to a progress-oriented one was liberating. Next came the debate between meticulous tracking and so-called intuitive eating. While intuitive eating is a beautiful goal, for someone like me whose intuition had been hijacked by years of bad habits and emotional eating, it felt like trying to navigate a ship in a storm without a compass. I chose to use tracking, not as a rigid jailer, but as an educational tool. Using an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer for a limited time wasn't about obsessing over every gram, it was about learning. It taught me what a real portion of peanut butter looked like, how many calories were hiding in my favorite coffee shop drink, and how much protein I was actually eating versus what I thought I was eating. It provided the data I needed to understand the fundamental principle of weight loss, the calorie deficit. Put simply, you need to consume slightly fewer calories than your body burns. But this wasn't about slashing calories to unsustainable levels. It was about creating a gentle, consistent deficit that allowed for fat loss without sacrificing muscle or sanity. Finally, I embraced two non-food weapons that proved to be more powerful than any diet plan: hydration and sleep. Think of sleep deprivation as a saboteur that sneaks into your body and rewires your hunger hormones. When you're sleep deprived, your body produces more ghrelin, the I'm hungry hormone, and less leptin, the I'm full hormone. This chemical 1-2 punch makes you crave high-calorie, sugary foods and makes it harder to feel satisfied. Similarly, dehydration often masquerades as hunger. That 3 p.m. craving for a snack might just be your body crying out for a glass of water. By prioritizing 8 hours of quality sleep and consistently drinking water throughout the day, I wasn't just supporting my body, I was stacking the deck in my favor, making it infinitely easier to make smart food choices. This mindset shift was the absolute foundation for my success. If you agree that getting your mind right is the first crucial step, comment with the number 1 below to signal you're ready to build that foundation. The sunrise ritual, engineering a day of success. How you begin your morning can dictate the trajectory of your entire day. My old routine was a recipe for failure. Hit snooze 3 times, grab my phone and scroll through social media while still in bed, then rush to get ready, grabbing a sugary granola bar on the way out the door. This reactive, chaotic start left me feeling behind before my day had even truly begun. My new morning routine is an intentional, proactive ritual designed to set a tone of calm, control, and health. The very first thing I do upon waking, before my feet even hit the floor, is drink a full 16-ounce glass of water that I leave on my nightstand. Before my phone, before coffee, before anything else, I hydrate. After a full night's sleep, our bodies are naturally dehydrated, and this simple act rehydrates my system, kickstarts my metabolism, and helps to flush out toxins. It's a small, symbolic act that says, today I'm putting my health first. Next, I allow myself a cup of black coffee or a freshly brewed green tea. The caffeine provides a gentle metabolic boost and mental clarity, but I'm careful to avoid the caloric landmines of sugar, cream, and flavored syrups that can turn a healthy beverage into a dessert. While the coffee is brewing, I engage in some form of light movement. This isn't a grueling, high-intensity workout. It's often a brisk 15-minute walk around my neighborhood, simply enjoying the quiet morning air. This is what's known as fasted cardio. The theory is that by exercising on an empty stomach, your body is more likely to tap into its fat stores for energy. Whether the science on that is definitive or not, I found it did wonders for my mental state, clearing my head and energizing me for the day ahead. On days when the weather in Chicago is less than forgiving, I'll do some light stretching or a simple yoga flow in my living room. Lastly, I address supplementation. This is a highly personal area, and it's essential to consult with a doctor before adding any supplements to your routine. For me, based on my needs and research, I found that taking a quality fish oil for its anti-inflammatory benefits and magnesium to aid in muscle relaxation and sleep quality was beneficial. These aren't magic pills for weight loss, but rather support systems for my overall health, ensuring my body's machinery is running as smoothly as possible. This entire ritual, from waking to walking, takes less than 30 minutes, but its impact resonates throughout the next 16 hours. My morning ritual has become non-negotiable for my well-being. Do you have a morning routine that sets you up for success? Share one part of it in the comments below. And if you're finding this deep dive valuable, please support us by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss our future content. The first victory of the day, a power-packed breakfast. For years, I was a card-carrying member of the breakfast is the most important meal of the day club, but I was doing it all wrong. My breakfasts consisted of things like sugary cereals, bagels with cream cheese, or muffins, all of which are carbohydrate dominant and would send my blood sugar on a wild roller coaster ride. I'd feel a quick burst of energy, followed by a dramatic crash an hour or two later, leaving me ravenous and reaching for more sugar long before lunchtime. The third secret I unlocked was the power of a high-protein, moderate-fat breakfast. Focusing on protein in the morning was a complete game changer. Protein is the king of macronutrients when it comes to satiety, the feeling of fullness and satisfaction. It digests more slowly than carbohydrates, which means it provides a steady, sustained release of energy. This simple switch obliterated my mid-morning cravings and kept me feeling full and focused for hours. My goal for breakfast became simple. Pack in at least 20 to 30 grams of protein, keep the carbs complex and minimal, and include a source of healthy fats. A typical breakfast for me now looks one of two ways. My go-to savory option is a 3-egg scramble cooked in a touch of olive oil with a large handful of fresh spinach wilted in. I'll serve this alongside half an avocado, sliced and sprinkled with a little sea salt and red pepper flakes. The eggs provide a high-quality protein punch, the spinach adds vitamins and fiber, and the avocado delivers healthy fats that further enhance satiety. My second favorite, for when I'm craving something a little sweeter, is a Greek yogurt bowl. I start with a cup of plain, full-fat Greek yogurt, which is incredibly rich in protein. I then stir in a tablespoon of chia seeds for fiber and omega-3s, top it with a handful of fresh berries for antioxidants and a touch of natural sweetness, and finish with a drizzle of almond butter for more healthy fats. Both of these meals clock in at around 350 to 450 calories and are packed with the nutrients my body needs to start the day strong. It's also important to bust a common myth here, that eating carbohydrates in the morning will instantly ruin your fat loss efforts. This isn't true. The issue isn't carbs themselves, but the type and quantity. A massive bowl of sugary cereal is vastly different from the complex carbohydrates found in a small serving of berries or the fiber from spinach. It's about making smart, strategic choices that fuel your body rather than sending it on a blood sugar spike and crash cycle. That was the third secret, focusing on protein for breakfast. If you found this explanation of why a high-protein breakfast is so effective helpful, please comment with the number 3 below to let us know. Bridging the gap, the strategic mid-morning snack. The hours between breakfast and lunch can be a nutritional danger zone. It's when the initial energy from breakfast can begin to wane and the temptation of the office donut box or the vending machine starts to call your name. My old self would either try to white-knuckle it through the hunger, which inevitably led to me being so famished by lunch that I'd overeat, or I'd grab a convenient but unhealthy snack that would spoil my appetite and my healthy intentions. The fourth key to my sustainable plan was incorporating a smart, satisfying, and simple mid-morning snack. The purpose of this snack is twofold. First, it acts as a crucial bridge, preventing that ravenous hunger that leads to poor lunch choices. Second, it helps to keep my blood sugar stable, preventing the energy dips and brain fog that can plague the late morning. A well-timed snack is not a sign of weakness. It's a proactive strategy to maintain control and energy throughout the day. My criteria for a good snack are simple. It must contain protein and/or fiber, be easy to prepare and eat, and be something I genuinely enjoy. A hard-boiled egg paired with some crunchy cucumber slices is a fantastic option. The egg is a perfect, portable source of protein and healthy fats, while the cucumber provides hydration and a satisfying crunch with very few calories. Another one of my favorites is a simple protein shake. I mix 1 scoop of a clean whey or plant-based protein powder with unsweetened almond milk. It tastes like a treat, satisfies my sweet tooth, and delivers a solid 20 to 25 grams of protein that keeps me full until lunch. For a quicker option, a small handful of almonds, about 15 to 20, paired with a black coffee or green tea is perfect for providing a combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats that staves off hunger effectively. The key is to choose snacks that won't spike your insulin levels or make you feel sleepy. This means avoiding sugary snacks, refined crackers, and other simple carbohydrates. These foods might give you a quick burst of energy, but it's always followed by a crash, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. By being prepared with one of these smart options, I turn a moment of potential weakness into another small victory in my day. This strategy of smart snacking was a real turning point for me in avoiding overeating at main meals. Have you found a favorite healthy snack that keeps you on track? Share it in the comments. And if these insights are bringing you value, a simple click on the like button and a subscription to the channel helps us immensely. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated. The midday refuel, a lunch that fights the diet mentality. Lunchtime used to be my biggest struggle. I'd either eat a sad, boring salad that left me completely unsatisfied, or I'd cave and grab a greasy slice of pizza or a heavy sandwich that would leave me feeling sluggish and sleepy for the rest of the afternoon. The goal of a diet lunch often feels like a punishment. My 5th breakthrough was learning to build a lunch that was not only incredibly healthy, but also massive in volume, packed with flavor, and something I genuinely looked forward to eating. This is the principle of volume eating, filling your plate with high-volume, low-calorie foods so you feel physically and mentally full without over-consuming calories. My lunch revolves around a simple but powerful template. Half of my plate is filled with non-starchy vegetables, 1/4 with a lean protein source, and the final quarter with a smart, complex carbohydrate. This formula ensures I'm getting a huge dose of fiber, vitamins, and minerals from the vegetables, sustained energy and muscle building blocks from the protein, and fuel for my brain and body from the carbs. A perfect example of this is my go-to power bowl. I start with a huge bed of mixed grains or kale. On top of that, I'll add a cup of roasted vegetables like broccoli, bell peppers, and onions, which I prepare in a big batch at the beginning of the week. For protein, I'll add 4 to 5 ounces of grilled chicken breast, also prepped ahead of time, or perhaps some lean ground beef seasoned with taco spices. For my carb source, I'll add about half a cup of cooked quinoa or a small roasted sweet potato. The final touch, and this is crucial, is the flavor. Healthy food does not have to be bland. I'll make a simple dressing with tahini, lemon juice, and water, or I'll drizzle some sriracha or a dollop of spicy mustard on top. Fresh herbs like cilantro or parsley also add a huge burst of freshness and flavor. Another favorite is a deconstructed Buddha bowl with lean steak, a mountain of sautéed kale, a small serving of brown rice, and that delicious tahini drizzle. The combination of textures, temperatures, and flavors makes it feel like a gourmet meal from a trendy cafe, not a restrictive diet lunch. By focusing on piling my plate high with vegetables and using spices and healthy sauces creatively, I never feel like I'm depriving myself. I finish lunch feeling satisfied, energized, and ready to tackle the second half of my day, a stark contrast to the food comas of my past. Building a satisfying, voluminous lunch was secret number 5. If you're inspired to try the plate method for a more satisfying and less restrictive lunch, comment with the number 5 below. Conquering the afternoon slump, a strategy for survival. The time between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. is the Bermuda Triangle of productivity and healthy eating. It's when energy levels naturally dip, willpower is at its lowest, and the siren call of the office snack drawer or the corner coffee shop's pastry case is at its loudest. For years, this was my daily downfall. I would succumb to what I thought was hunger, but was actually a potent cocktail of boredom, stress, and habit. My sixth crucial strategy was developing a multi-pronged defense system against this afternoon slump. The first step was learning to ask a critical question. Am I truly hungry, or am I just bored, tired, or stressed? More often than not, it was one of the latter. Instead of immediately reaching for food, I created a new habit. I would get up from my desk and take a 5-minute walk, even if it was just a few laps around the office or up and down a flight of stairs. This simple act of movement would often be enough to reset my brain, boost my energy, and make the craving disappear. Sometimes I'd put on my headphones and dance around my kitchen for one song. It sounds silly, but it's an incredible mood and energy booster. If I determined that I was genuinely hungry, I had a pre-approved list of smart, healthy swaps ready to go. Instead of a candy bar, I'd have 2 squares of high-quality dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao, which satisfies the sweet craving while providing antioxidants. Instead of greasy potato chips, I'd have crunchy veggie chips made from kale or beets, or a few rice cakes topped with a smear of tuna salad made with Greek yogurt instead of mayo. These swaps provided the sensory experience I was craving, sweet, salty, crunchy, without the empty calories and subsequent energy crash. A black coffee or an iced green tea can also be a powerful tool during this time. The caffeine provides a needed lift without any added sugar or calories. Learning to distinguish between energy hunger and boredom hunger was a profound skill. It taught me to listen to my body's true signals rather than reacting to emotional or environmental cues. By having a plan and a set of alternative actions, I took back control of my afternoons and kept my progress firmly on track. This strategy for beating the afternoon slump was key to my consistency. If you've ever struggled with that 3 p.m. craving, comment with the number 6 below and let us know you're ready to fight back. The evening wind down, a light and clean dinner. The way you approach your final meal of the day can have a significant impact on your sleep quality, your digestion, and your body's ability to repair and recover overnight. My old habit was to eat my largest meal at night, often filled with heavy carbohydrates like pasta, rice, or bread, frequently accompanied by a glass of wine. While comforting at the moment, this often led to feeling bloated and uncomfortable, disrupted my sleep, and left me feeling sluggish the next morning. My 7th principle was to shift to a lighter, cleaner dinner, focusing on protein and vegetables. My rationale for this is both personal and physiological. For me, a heavy meal late at night simply doesn't digest well and interferes with my ability to get deep, restorative sleep. From a physiological standpoint, your insulin sensitivity can be slightly lower in the evening, meaning your body may be more inclined to store excess carbohydrates as fat rather than use them for immediate energy. By keeping my dinner lower in carbohydrates and focusing on lean protein and fibrous vegetables, I provide my body with the nutrients it needs for overnight muscle repair without overburdening my digestive system. An example of a perfect evening meal for me is a beautiful 6-ounce fillet of baked salmon, seasoned with lemon, dill, and garlic, served over a bed of zucchini noodles sautéed with a little olive oil and cherry tomatoes. The salmon is packed with protein and anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids, and the zucchini noodles provide a satisfying pasta-like experience with a fraction of the carbs and calories. Another fantastic option is turkey lettuce wraps. I'll sauté lean ground turkey with Asian-inspired flavors like ginger, garlic, and low-sodium soy sauce and serve it in crisp, fresh butter lettuce cups. I might have a small bowl of savory miso soup on the side for a warm, comforting addition. This doesn't mean I have a strict, unbreakable rule against carbs at night. It's about being mindful and listening to my body. If I had a particularly intense workout or I'm feeling genuinely hungry for more, I might add a small portion of a smart carb like quinoa or a few roasted baby potatoes. The most important rule is no strict rules. The goal is to finish dinner feeling comfortably satisfied, not stuffed. I also make a conscious effort to avoid alcohol and sugary desserts on most weeknights, as they are notorious for disrupting sleep architecture and sabotaging recovery. Eating a lighter dinner was my seventh key change, and it dramatically improved my sleep and how I felt in the morning. Have you noticed a difference in how you feel based on what you eat for dinner? We'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. Fortifying the night, the no binge zone ritual. The time after dinner, a few hours before bed, can be a minefield of mindless eating. The workday is done, the chores are finished, and the television is on. This is when emotional eating, driven by stress, fatigue, or sheer habit, often rears its ugly head. I used to find myself wandering into the kitchen, opening the pantry, and grazing on chips, cookies, or ice cream, not because I was hungry, but because it was a comforting ritual. Creating a no-binge zone and establishing a new evening ritual was the eighth, and perhaps one of the most challenging, secrets to my success. My first line of defense is surprisingly simple. I brush my teeth. As soon as I know I'm done eating for the day, I go through my full evening dental routine. The clean, minty feeling in my mouth acts as a powerful psychological signal to my brain that the kitchen is closed for the night. Food just doesn't taste as good after you've brushed your teeth, and it's often enough of a deterrent to stop mindless snacking in its tracks. Next, I replaced my snacking ritual with a tea ritual. I have a collection of delicious, caffeine-free herbal teas, peppermint for digestion, chamomile for relaxation, or a spicy chai blend. The act of boiling the water, steeping the tea, and slowly sipping a warm, flavorful beverage is incredibly soothing. It provides the same hand-to-mouth comfort and oral fixation that snacking did, but with 0 calories and the added benefits of hydration and relaxation. However, I am also a realist. There are some nights when I am genuinely physically hungry, especially if I had an early dinner or a tough workout. In these cases, ignoring my body signals would be counterproductive. My rule is to have a small, protein-rich mini snack. A small bowl of cottage cheese or a scoop of slow-digesting casein protein mixed with a little water is perfect. The protein helps with muscle repair overnight and promotes satiety, preventing me from waking up hungry in the middle of the night. Finally, I had to do the hard work of learning to cope with my emotional triggers. When I felt the urge to eat out of stress or sadness, I learned to pause and ask myself what I truly needed. Sometimes it was a conversation with a friend, 5 minutes of meditation, or just writing down my feelings in a journal. Learning to feed my emotions with actual coping mechanisms instead of food was a long process, but it was essential for long-term freedom. Creating a new evening ritual was my 8th strategy for fortifying my resolve. If you've ever battled late-night cravings, comment with the number 8 below to show you're ready to build a new, healthier routine. Navigating the weekend, the art of flexible discipline. Weekends are where diets go to die. The structure of the work week dissolves, and we're faced with social gatherings, restaurant meals, and the temptation to reward ourselves for a week of being good. This was my pattern for years. I'd be strict from Monday to Friday afternoon, and then the weekend would become a free-for-all, effectively undoing all of my hard work. My 9th revelation was that I didn't need to be a hermit or turn down every social invitation. I just needed to adopt a mindset of flexible discipline, famously known as the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is simple in concept. I aim to eat according to my healthy plan about 80% of the time, and I allow for flexibility and mindful indulgence the other 20% of the time. This isn't a license to go wild. It's a structured way to incorporate the foods I love without guilt or derailment. This approach completely shifted my perspective from a cheat day mentality, which implies that you are doing something wrong, to one of smart, planned flexibility. There are no bad foods, only choices that are more or less aligned with my goals. So, how does this look in practice? If my friends want to get pizza on a Friday night, I go. But instead of eating half a large pizza by myself, I'll have 2 slices, and I'll pair it with a large side salad to fill me up with fiber. I enjoy every bite of that pizza, guilt-free, because it fits within my 20%. I use what I call the eat the burger, skip the fries strategy. If I'm at a BBQ and I really want a juicy burger, I'll have it. But I'll skip the bun and the side of potato salad, opting instead for grilled vegetables or a green salad. It's about making conscious trade-offs. This flexibility is what makes the entire lifestyle sustainable. Knowing that I can still enjoy a piece of birthday cake, a glass of wine with dinner, or my favorite takeout without feeling like a failure is what keeps me on track for the long haul. It eliminates the feeling of deprivation that so often leads to binging. It's a sane, balanced approach that allows me to live a full, social life while still honoring my health goals. Weekends are no longer a source of anxiety. They are just another part of a healthy, enjoyable life. Adopting the 80-20 rule for weekend sanity was my 9th game changer. If you believe in balance and flexibility over rigid perfection, comment with the number 9 below. Your arsenal for success, the tools that kept me sane. Embarking on a health journey without the right tools is like trying to build a house with just your bare hands. It's possible, but it's unnecessarily difficult. My 10th strategy was to equip myself with a small but powerful arsenal of tools that simplified the process, kept me accountable, and removed as much friction as possible from my daily decisions. As I mentioned earlier, tracking apps like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer were invaluable educational tools at the beginning of my journey. I used them for about 3 months, not to obsess, but to learn. They gave me a baseline understanding of the nutritional content of the foods I was eating regularly. If apps aren't your thing, a simple Google Sheet or even a physical notebook works just as well. The goal is temporary education, not lifelong obsession. The single most impactful tool in my arsenal, however, has been meal prepping and batch cooking. I dedicate about 90 minutes every Sunday afternoon to prepare for the week ahead. This isn't as daunting as it sounds. I'll throw a big tray of chopped vegetables, broccoli, bell peppers, zucchini, onions in the oven to roast. While that's cooking, I'll grill a family pack of chicken breasts on an indoor grill or bake them. I'll also cook a large tot of a complex carb like quinoa or brown rice. I then store everything in separate containers in the fridge. This simple ritual means that during a busy week, a healthy, balanced meal is never more than 3 minutes away. It completely eliminates the "I'm too tired to cook" excuse that used to lead me straight to a takeout menu. My grocery list also became a tool. I built a template of staples that I buy every single week. Eggs, Greek yogurt, spinach, avocados, berries, chicken breasts, salmon, lean ground turkey, quinoa, almond milk, and a variety of fresh vegetables. Having this list keeps me focused in the grocery store and prevents impulse buys. On the topic of impulse buys, perhaps the simplest tool of all is the most effective. If you don't want to eat it, don't bring it into your house. It's far easier to say no to a bag of chips once in the grocery store than it is to say no to it 100 times when it's sitting in your pantry. By curating my environment to support my goals, I make healthy choices the easy choices. These tools were essential for my success. If you're ready to arm yourself with the right tools, from meal prep to smart grocery lists, comment with the number 10 below. And if you're enjoying this comprehensive guide, show some love with a like and subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another video. Lessons from the trenches. Mistakes I made so you don't have to. My journey was far from a straight line to success. It was filled with stumbles, setbacks, and a lot of learning. These mistakes weren't failures. They were invaluable lessons that refined my approach and strengthened my resolve. My 11th piece of advice is to learn from my missteps so you can avoid these common traps on your own path. My first major mistake was skipping meals. I used to think that if I skipped breakfast, I could save those calories for a bigger dinner. This always backfired spectacularly. I would be so uncontrollably hungry by lunchtime that I'd make poor choices and eat far more than I would have if I'd just had a sensible breakfast. This led to a vicious cycle of restricting and binging. The lesson: eat consistent, balanced meals throughout the day to keep hunger and blood sugar stable. The second mistake was drinking my calories. I was oblivious to the sheer number of calories hiding in my daily latte, the glass of orange juice with breakfast, or the evening glass of wine. These liquid calories don't provide the same level of satiety as solid food, so it's easy to consume hundreds of extra calories without even realizing it. The lesson: prioritize water, black coffee, and unsweetened tea. Be mindful of the caloric cost of other beverages and treat them as indulgences, not daily staples. A third and very damaging mistake was obsessing over the scale. I used to weigh myself every single day, and my mood for the entire day would be dictated by that number. But weight can fluctuate wildly day to day due to water retention, hormones, and digestion. A slight increase would send me into a spiral of despair, even if I was doing everything right. The lesson: the scale is just one data point. Weigh yourself once a week, at the same time, under the same conditions. Pay more attention to other indicators of progress, like how your clothes fit, your energy levels, and taking progress photos and body measurements. These are often a truer reflection of your success. Finally, the most toxic mistake I made was constantly comparing my progress to others. I'd scroll through social media and see people who seemed to be losing weight faster or looked better than I did, and it would fill me with envy and self-doubt. The lesson: this is your journey. Your body, your genetics, your life, and your timeline are unique. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. Celebrate your own victories, no matter how small they may seem. Learning from my mistakes was my 11th secret. If you've ever made one of these mistakes and are ready to move past them, comment with the number 11 below. Let's learn and grow together. The payoff: more than just a number on the scale. After 30 days of consistently applying these principles, not perfectly, but consistently, the changes were undeniable. And while I was thrilled to see the number on the scale go down, I quickly realized that the most profound results had almost nothing to do with my weight. This 12th and final realization was perhaps the most beautiful of all. The true reward of this journey is the life you gain, not just the weight you lose. Yes, I lost a significant amount of weight in that first month, but what mattered more were the inches. The jeans that had sparked this whole journey now zipped up with ease. A dress that had been relegated to the back of my closet became a favorite again. The changes were visible not just on the scale, but in the mirror and in the way my body moved through the world. I learned that muscle is denser than fat, so even when the scale wasn't moving much, my body composition was changing for the better. But the physical changes paled in comparison to the mental and emotional transformation. The persistent brain fog that had clouded my afternoons lifted. I was replaced with a sharp, sustained mental clarity that I hadn't experienced in years. My energy levels, which used to plummet by mid-afternoon, were now stable and high throughout the entire day. I was no longer a slave to my cravings. I was in control. This newfound energy and control blossomed into a quiet, unshakable confidence. It wasn't an arrogant confidence, but a deep-seated self-respect that came from keeping the promises I made to myself. I started walking taller, making more eye contact, and speaking up more in meetings at work. The compliments from friends and family started rolling in, which was nice, but the best feeling came from within. It was the feeling of zipping up those jeans without a struggle. It was the feeling of running up a flight of stairs and not being out of breath. It was the feeling of looking in the mirror and finally recognizing and liking the person looking back at me. That was the real victory. This transformation, which went so far beyond the scale, was the ultimate reward. What is one non-scale victory you are hoping to achieve on your health journey? Share your goal in the comments below. Let's cheer each other on. Comment with the number 12 if you agree that the best results are the ones you can feel. Your journey starts now, the path to a new you. We've journeyed together through the mindset shifts, the daily rituals, the meal strategies, and the hard-won lessons that completely reshaped my life. We've seen that true, lasting change isn't born from a place of punishment or perfection. It's cultivated through consistency, fueled by self-compassion, and built on a foundation of eating to feel good, not to chastise yourself for past choices. This isn't a 30-day challenge. It's a blueprint for a new relationship with food and, more importantly, with yourself. The core message I want to leave you with is this: you are capable of so much more than you think. If you fall off the path, and you will because you are human, the most important thing is to get back on with grace and without guilt. Every single meal is a new opportunity to make a choice that serves you. Consistency will always beat motivation. Motivation is a fleeting emotion, but consistency is a practice, a muscle that gets stronger every time you use it. Start small. Pick one thing from this guide. Maybe it's just drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or prepping your lunches for 2 days this week. Master that, and then add another small change. If a woman in Chicago who was once winded by a flight of stairs and defeated by a pair of jeans can find her way back to energy, confidence, and health, then I have absolute faith that you can too. The power to change is already within you. You just have to decide to begin. After all of this analysis, what is the single most important lesson you've learned for yourself today? Let us know your biggest takeaway in the comments. The journey of taking care of yourself is a long and rewarding one. It all starts with that first small step. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.